Hey everyone, it's your good buddy Spider back with another episode of Uncanny Media, the show. And you might hear some strange noises in the background because the kittens... I have the window open a tiny crack because it's been kind of nice weather today. Which is funny because it's going to be nasty weather again tomorrow. But temperature-wise, it's been pretty good weather. There's no snow. It's been a little rainy, but not bad. The temperature has gotten up into the 60s and 70s here in March, which is kind of unheard of. Usually, in years past, even in March, which you consider, oh, well, that's spring weather, right? Well, in Ohio, it's still like the tail end of winter. We'll still get snow, sometimes all the way up into May, which is just insanity. But sometimes we will. I don't know if we'll get it this year, but the weather has been nice today, so I had the window open a crack while I'm recording this to let a little bit of airflow in because I'm a little warm, and the kittens are attacking the crack in the window. It's not a crack as in the window's broken, but it's open a crack, just open a smidge, because the screen, due to cat behavior over the last several years, has been scratched apart. And if I open it more than that tiny little bit, like about a half inch, then they'll squeeze through and they'll visit the wide world outside. And my cats are not outdoor cats. They're strictly indoor cats. They do not go in and out. They stay in. Once they're in, and I take good care of them. I give them their food, I give them their litter, I give them their pets and their snuggles and everything that they need. So I don't let them outside. So you might hear them scrabbling at that window because they like the smells and the sounds and everything. Anyway, like I said, here we are with another episode of the show. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I have various things going on in life right now. I have a lot of stuff going on. The positive stuff is that I have a new EP for my music project. As some of you may know, it's called Spider in the Hall, one word, big at the beginning and big at the end, small in the middle. If you know, you know. I released a 4-track EP on streaming services just a few days ago. It is called Anchor, and it is showcasing the track Anchor and the track Kick 'Em While They're Down, appropriately named, that are both going to be on the upcoming full album in June. The album is called Kingmaker. I've recorded 12 tracks, mostly new music. There's a couple of tracks on there that are reworked old pieces, just for fun, but for the most part it's new music, it's a new style. And that album is going to release June 5th of 2026. Now the single, the EP, the Anchor EP, is already out. It released on March 9th. So you can get that. You can listen to it on streaming services like Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, pretty much anywhere that you would want it. Pandora, anywhere that you would listen to music online, you can listen to it. Or you can go to spiderinthehall.bandcamp.com and you can purchase the EP for $4.99. $4.99. It's a bargain. And you can also pre-order the new album for $9.99. And like I said, it'll be out in June 5th. I will be doing a listening party where I will stream the album in full a few days before its actual release. And that's going to be on Twitch, twitch.tv/DMGRGN. That's my Twitch channel. Okay? That'll be June 2nd. And if you tune in for that, and if you say something in the chat so I know that you've tuned in, You have to talk in the chat. You don't have to stay. You don't have to say a whole lot. You don't have to have whole conversations. You don't have to be the life of the party. But you do have to say that, hey, that's me. I'm here. Everybody who joins in the chat for any amount of time during the listening party will be eligible for a chance to win a free copy of the album before its official release. You will get a free digital download in your choice of either lossless wave or high quality MP3. So that's cool. That's cool stuff. I'm proud of this album. I really am. I've put a lot of work into it. It's a lot more focused and a lot more cohesive than previous albums. It's not all over the place. It's 12 solid songs that I feel say what I want to say in regards to what the album is doing. So that's what's upcoming. In other news, I am being sued again. For the third time. For the third time. I mean, I only made a big deal about it on the show for one, because that case fell apart, and we all know about all that. I've been sued one other time because during the virus years, during the lockdown years, my credit was really good, and I got into several credit cards and thought, oh, I can manage all this. I can keep a balance on them, and I can do whatever. But I let myself go. I let myself really get in trouble. And I overspent. And then we had problems with work. We had problems with jobs, and the economy started to take a nosedive, and credit card companies raised their interest rates by 10% over what they had been. A lot of the interest rates I'd had at the time were like in 20-some percent, and now they're all 30-some percent. And so I got myself into a lot of trouble with credit cards. And unfortunately, I got myself into a lot of debt. I got myself into a lot of issues. Now, since then, I have signed up with a debt consolidation law firm. Okay? It's been a while now. I've been with them for almost 2 years. And what they do is I pay into a fund that they then use to pay off my debt, because they go to each of my creditors and they negotiate settlements with all of them. Okay? And we've eliminated one of my debts. We're mostly through a second one, and we're working on a third one. The second one sued me right before I made the decision to join up with these people, which is what got me really involved with it. I knew I needed help. Okay, I couldn't deal with it on my own. I got myself into a lot of trouble, and I admit that. I admit I was in the wrong, right? I was not responsible with what I was doing. So I got with the debt consolidation company. They got things handled with that first one. So even though the judgment was against me and I was at fault for all that, my debt consolidation firm is paying that off. It's almost paid off. I only owe 3 more payments on that, right? So recently, a second one of my debts, one of the creditors decided, well, we're tired of waiting, and so they decided to sue me. So I had to send a bunch of paperwork to my consolidation firm and get them on board with it, and they should get back to me sometime tomorrow with their plan to offer a settlement and to work through, whatever they have to with the second creditor. So it's not a big deal. It's not going to really put me out much because they're just going to fold them in. Like, they're going to tell them, hey, this is our settlement. We'll get you your payments on this date, etc., etc. And it's, no big deal. But it's kind of annoying, is what it is. And it is my fault, right? I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that any of these debts are frivolous or that they're like, oh, why are they come after me? Poor me. Oh, they're picking on me. Well, they're just trying to get their money because I owe them the money. I do owe them the money. And I couldn't pay it because I got myself in out of control. I just spent way too much on things that I wanted and things that I thought I needed, and I did a lot of damage. Now, I've recovered a lot since then. Since I signed up with the debt consolidation firm. And I'm not using this as a, like, oh, they're sponsoring the show, this is the people, and I'm trying to sell a product. I'm not doing that to get people on board to sign up with them. I'm not going to mention who they are because it's not. I'm just telling my personal story about it, right? Since I've been working with them, I have been able to get better control of my credit. And I have new credit cards, and you're probably thinking, why would you open new credit cards after you got into so much trouble? Because now I know better, and you need to have credit cards in order to build credit, or to rebuild credit if it's been damaged. The whole credit system is messed up, I'll say that. The whole credit system is designed to pull you down into a swamp where you are indebted for life. It is designed to do that. And everything in life, housing loans, mortgages, car loans, certain jobs now apparently check your credit history. Like, so many things in life now revolve around you having credit that you don't have a choice. You have to get into the credit game, and it's too bad because credit is it's like a casino. The house always wins. It's not designed to help you do better in life. It's designed in the hopes that you will mess up, as I did, and how other people have, and so that the credit card companies can just drain you of everything that you have. That's what it's designed to do, unfortunately. But that's how life works. You have to have it, and you have to risk them getting a hold of you. And you, unfortunately, if you're not responsible, like I wasn't, you end up with problems. But now I've learned. I've become more responsible, so I'm building my credit. My credit is better than it was, and I'm paying off my old debts, and everything is going the way it's supposed to. Occasionally, one of these debts that I owe, one of the creditors gets antsy about it and says, well, we want our money sooner. And so they'll try to sue me, and they'll do this and they'll do that. And my firm takes care of it because it's part of the program. It's part of the services they offer. So it's no big deal. But it's annoying. And I can't complain because at the end of the day, I did this to myself, and I'm taking steps to fix the damage that I've done. Right? And that's the point. If you cause this kind of damage to yourself and to your family, you owe it to everyone to try to fix it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm fixing it. I just happen to get sued every so often about it. So that's what's going on with me. That's what's happening with me. There's never enough money. There's never enough money in the world to cover everything that needs to be paid for. And maybe someday, all of this that I'm doing with the podcast and with the music and with Uncanny and all that, someday this will be such a reliable flow of income that I can once again comfortably pay my bills and not worry about whether I'm going to be overdrafted next week. Maybe. We'll see. I would like to leave enough behind for my daughter that she doesn't have to scrape and scrounge to survive. I want her to be able to work and be able to afford to pay for things and be a productive member of society such as it is without the weight of everything that we've got while she was growing up. You know, that's what I would like. That's what keeps me up at night. You know what keeps other people up at night, though? I'm going to look this up to make sure I've got this correct, because this is something I kept seeing this in the news. And I was just like, why is this important? And I don't understand. Okay, that's the wrong person. Let me put in the right name. I don't understand why everyone is so obsessed with this. Have you people heard of the case? It's a national case. It's a big deal. It's huge about the kidnapping and the ransom. The subsequent ransom. It's not done yet. Of Nancy Guthrie. Okay? I'm sure some people know exactly what I'm talking about, and they can recite every single bit about this case. And I didn't know that much about it. I just kept seeing the name pop up, and I was like, why is everybody so concerned about this? Because I didn't know the connections, and knowing the connections makes this... It makes me a bit grouchy about all the attention on this as opposed to other things, okay? Nancy Guthrie, apparently, according to Wikipedia, is the 84-year-old mother of an NBC News journalist and a Today Show co-anchor named Savannah Guthrie, who I have no idea who she is. I don't watch the Today Show. I don't watch news on NBC. I don't generally watch most news programs. I read news online from aggregates, and then I try to, compare and contrast between various outlets to find out who's giving more of the facts than others. Okay? Like, I'll look at CNN, I'll look at Fox, I'll look at MSNBC, and I'll look at all these different places, and then I'll say, okay, well, what's the common thread in all of these stories? You strip away all the language and all the provocative headlines, and what's the common thread? And that's generally usually where the story is. So I had no idea who Savannah Guthrie was. But apparently her mother was reported missing from her home in Arizona. And according to evidence, apparently she's been taken against her will and she's been abducted. And there's been ransom notes demanding payment in cryptocurrency, which... because everything is cryptocurrency now. And there's a lot of different facets to this. There's video of an armed individual wearing a mask on the property at the time of the disappearance. They've apparently sought on social media to get proof of life to make sure that the mother's still alive. They're offering $1 million for information that assists in the recovery. As of March 7th, which is just 4 days ago, as of my recording, law enforcement has stated that her condition and whereabouts remain unknown. And the daughter, Savannah Guthrie, who's the journalist, is suspending her broadcasting duties to participate in the ongoing search. Now, all of this is interesting from a true crime perspective, but from a national thing, like, bear with me. Why is this national news? Why is this national news as opposed to so many other cases where people are abducted and taken against their will and whatnot? Because apparently the daughter is a minor celebrity being on a major syndicated news show. And we are obsessed with such things. I'm not. I'll say that personally, because again, my disconnection to all this and me having not known much of anything about it is evidence of that. But people in the United States are obsessed with celebrity culture. And anyone who's on TV, who's recognizable, whether they're in the news or on a TV show or on made-for-TV movies or whatever, any of these people become objects of fascination and hero worship, and they're seen as special, they're seen as different, they're seen as above the rest of us. Which is one of the reasons why I don't get into any of it, because I don't believe any of that. I think all of that is horse shit, to be perfectly honest. To be blunt. To be very blunt. I don't think Matt Damon is any more important than I am. Yes, he's an actor, and I am not. He can act better than I am. I don't doubt that. I do not doubt that. Does that make him a more important figure in the world than me? No. I mean, you might think so, because you know who he is, and you might not know who I am. Who am I, right? But I don't see anybody like that as on any sort of pedestal above me. And at the same time, I don't see myself as above them. Right? So it's not necessarily an ego thing, like, oh, I'm just as good as they are. Well, no, because obviously they can do things that I can't. I'm not an actor. I've never been very good at acting. I come off too earnest, too honest. I don't come off as being able to pull off a role because I can't sink into a mask or a costume in that fashion. I can't seem to do it. It's exaggerated. It doesn't quite work right. And that's fine. That's just not my calling. I was not meant to be an actor, a stage performer, so to speak. Which is probably why people don't go to a lot of my music shows, because they don't think I'm entertaining enough, because I don't dance right, I don't swivel the hips in the right fashion, I don't make the right facial expressions, whatever. It doesn't matter. I understand it, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't bother me. I am good at the things I'm good at, and I'm not good at the things that I'm not good at, and that's just how it is. But the fact that so many people, like this case has become such a big deal that I've seen multiple articles every day since the abduction happened, that I couldn't get away from it. Every single day when I'm looking at the news, I would see something about this case. And I have to wonder why. And it has to just be because the daughter is a minor celebrity on a news show. And that means it's a big deal. It's big news. And while I don't wish any sort of ill will towards the family or towards the missing woman, I don't care. I don't care. It's not of interest to me. I hope they find her, and I hope they find her alive. And I hope the people responsible get punished. But as an object of fascination, as a story of just like, oh, I'm so into this. No, I don't care. I don't care. I don't think anyone... I think it should have been kept private. The more attention you give to something like this, the more it emboldens people who've done it. I mean, we dramatize this kind of thing. We have plenty of movies and TV shows where kidnappers and murderers, they do these things to get attention, to get on TV, and these kind of things. So we assume that bleeds into everyday life. We assume that regular criminals, all big criminals that pull off these big daring things, the big heists and the big... We assume that they want to be known and recognized. And we give them attention. We give them all the attention that they want. And I don't think we should. I think it should have been something that was kept mostly quiet. I don't think the news, other outlets should be reporting on it. I think the police should not be doing press conferences about it, about the latest evidence and the latest progress and the latest theories. I don't think any of that should be happening. I think they should be 100% just, okay, here's a missing person. We assume they've been abducted. Let's do what we can to find the person. Let's crack the case. And leave it at that. I don't think it needs to be a public spectacle, because that's what it is right now. It's a public spectacle. And if that's what they want, then that's what we're giving them. We're giving them exactly what they want. If it's not what they want, then it's just making things dramatic for no reason. It could push the abductors to do something that they hadn't intended to do, something perhaps fatal, unfortunately, or who knows. I don't know. I would rather not know. I would rather we have just handled it quietly. And that goes for all major events like this. I don't think any of this stuff should be major news for public consumption. I don't think that's necessary. We've become a culture of sensationalism, of dramatizing things that should be private, of just every scandalous detail of different things just being put on display, and I don't care for it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, to be perfectly honest. And it bleeds into a wider issue. Politics is the same way. And I've talked about this before. I have talked about how I do not think our politicians should be going on news shows constantly, whether you're a senator or a governor or a representative or the president or any of the president's people. I don't think any of you should be holding interviews on Fox or CNN or NBC or The View or The Five or The Chew or whatever, or going on Jimmy Fallon or going on The Daily Show or going on Gutfeld or any of these things. I don't think you should be going on to these places and discussing your opinions on national things. I think you should be dealing with them in the place that you're supposed to be working with them with. And I know it was awkward for me to say. It's probably awkward to hear, but bear with me. If you're in Congress, that's where the business should be. In Congress. You should put your opinions and your thoughts and everything should stay in Congress. Or privately at home with your family, not out on news outlets, not all over the place. No one should be holding extra press conferences on the White House lawn or on Capitol Hill or wherever. Okay? No one should be doing this because you're making yourself a celebrity. You're not a celebrity. You are a public servant. You're supposed to be a public servant. And it's just gotten worse. With Bill Clinton, back in the day, we had him playing the saxophone on Saturday Night Live, right? You know, we had I don't know if either of the Bushes, the senior or George W., I don't know if either one of them did a lot of talk show stuff. I don't recall. I do know that Obama went on, I don't know if he was on The Daily Show, but I think he was on Jimmy Fallon. I think he was on various places. He might have been on Kimmel. And Trump, of course, Trump is the celebrity guy because Trump had the TV show, and he's always been a celebrity through his entire life because he's the rich guy, and he's been on WWE, he was on Home Alone 2, he's been all over the place, and so that's his nature, to be in the news, to be out front, to be seen. And I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I don't think any of that is pertinent towards the job getting done. And now here we are. We're here dealing with another situation in the Middle East. And so every single day it's Trump this, Trump administration, Trump candidate or campaign people, Trump candidates, Trump this, Trump that, Trump blah. It is so difficult to go through the news in any given day without just hearing a million different opinions on Trump-related things. And most of that's not news. He thrives on the attention. It's what he wants, positive and negative. People will do stories about, oh, he was mad because CNN wrote this nasty article about him, but he's not really mad. He loves it. He loves the attention because it feeds into whatever ego trip he's got going on. He can then turn that around and say, look what these people said about me, and blah, 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 and he can make a statement out of it. He can make a counter rebuttal about it, and all of a sudden there's another news cycle dedicated to what he said. So he's constantly in the news. And that's what things have become. Politics on both sides now is 100% invested in this. I remember saying a few episodes back, like, Chris Christie apparently still gets asked for his opinion on things. Why? Who cares what Chris Christie thinks? He was embroiled in a minor scandal. He had a failed presidential bid. He's a nobody. He's a nobody. He's a nobody, and yet he gets talking points all the time. Same with various other people from all sides of the aisle. Like, it's... Why do we give these people attention? They don't know anything more than we do. They just happen to have been in the public eye at some point, so now they're a minor celebrity, even though they're a politician. Like, it's so irritating to me. It's so frustrating. And here we are in the Middle East. Like, here's the thing about all this. I do not agree with the government in Iran. Okay? I don't agree with the government in Saudi Arabia. I don't agree with the government anywhere where they're going to be treating certain genders and certain individuals as second-class citizens or worse. I'm not into any of that. I'm not into hyper-orthodox religion that's very oppressive. I'm not into that. Iran deserves to have its people be free. And when I mean free, I mean able to make their own decisions in politics, religion, commercial, etc. They should not have to be told, well, if you're a woman, you have to wear this headscarf and you have to wear this over your face, and if you don't, then we're going to cut your hands off, or your head, or your whatever. We're going to mutilate you in some way. No one should have to live in fear of that, men or women, or anybody in between or outside of the lines. Whatever you identify as, it's not a big deal to me. You should not have to live in fear of that. So the Iranian hardline government definitely needed to be replaced. But are we supposed to be the ones to do it? No. Their own people are the people who are supposed to do it. Am I upset that the Ayatollah is dead? No. I'm not. Do I think that we should have been involved in the killing? I don't think so. I've said it before, the United States does not have to be the world police. Yes, we played large roles in World War I and World War II. And so we have a prominent place in history as coming to the rescue, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that we need to be regulating right and wrong throughout the rest of the world. There are multiple countries. These countries handle things their way, and some are better and some are worse than others. Unless they are doing things to the outside world outside of their country, then let them deal with their own business. Right? And you can say, well, historically, if we'd have done that, then we would have been okay with Nazi Germany exterminating all the Jews within its borders. No, we weren't okay with that. But what are you going to do? It's another country, they're handling their own things. It's unfortunate, and it's backwards, and it's terrible. But how is it affecting you? How is it affecting you if they hurt their own people? And I know that sounds cold and kind of callous, but you have to listen to this, okay? Listen to it, really. Because we cannot stick our fingers in every single pie on the planet. We can't. It's not feasible. Especially when here in the United States, we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of economic upheaval going on, and yes, you can blame that on the administration now or the previous one or whatever, but that's besides the point. That's not the point I'm trying to make. We have problems with our economy here. We have a lot of homeless people. We have a lot of issues. We have an immigration problem where we have a system in place that we're not enforcing correctly, so there are people here that should have gone through the process that didn't, and is it their fault or is it our fault? It's a little bit of both. Part of the problem why we have so many quote-unquote undocumented people here is because we did not give them the proper channels to get here appropriately. We have a system in place for that. We do. Is it a little outdated, a little antique? Possibly. We could update it. We could make things a little bit easier. Not necessarily simple to the point that everybody just waltzes in here, but we could make it modern. We could modernize our immigration system. But instead, we've let the system break down. And so people come in and they take advantage of it. Who is at fault? Are they 100% at fault because they're taking advantage of a broken system? Not 100%. They are partially at fault, sure, but they might believe, hey, this is the best option. We're leaving a country that we think is terrible for a country that is better. And it is our duty as the United States to have a system in place for them to legally get here and become citizens. And we do, but we're enforcing it badly. We're not doing what we need to do to entice these people to come through the correct way. So they're crossing borders without letting us know, and now it's become a huge issue. And now they're so much a part of our infrastructure. In California, I remember it being said that, oh yeah, if you get rid of all of the undocumented immigrants, then there's going to be nobody to harvest the avocados and blah, blah, blah. And that's partially the fault of the people hiring the undocumented immigrants, because they're participating in illegal activity. But now we're reliant on that because we love avocados. We want that kind of stuff in restaurants all across the United States. I like guacamole. I don't want guacamole to go away, but, if we just say, nope, no more, you gotta go, then we can't fill enough positions with people who were legally here to get all the avocados so I can have my guacamole. So is my convenience of being able to have guacamole more important than enforcing immigration law? That's where we're at. We're at a weird point where we have a lot of egos and a lot of opinions and a lot of these things going on. And it dominates the news cycle. As we circle back around to the various points that I'm making, it's dominating the news cycle, and it's blinding us to so many other things that we need to know that we could fix. There's so many issues we could fix, but we're stuck on this celebrity worship and these high profile, like this is this and this is that, and then the politicians that we've put in know that, and they play their parts. They play the parts we have asked them to play. They play the parts of the minor celebrities because that's what we want them to do. And we're at a point where we don't even care who's representing our interests anymore if it goes against our preconceived ideas. A couple episodes ago, in my local wildlife episode, I talked about how there were people in my local town who were going up against the city council, and they've got a lot of local grievances and things, right? Apparently, they brought in someone from outside the county, from outside of the area. They brought in somebody who drove 2 hours, I've heard some stories where it was 2, somewhere it was 3, to speak at the local city council meeting. And the city council didn't allow them to speak. And so these people, the local agitators, are mad. Because this person is also a military veteran, and they drove so far, and they had things to say. But they don't live here. This is a local city council meeting for local city issues. Why do you think bringing in somebody and inviting somebody from several hours away to try to speak at this, why would they allow somebody from outside to have... why would they let them speak? It's supposed to be for local issues. This person isn't local. Oh, but they're a veteran. Well, what difference does that make? Sure, I mean, it's great. They're a veteran. They did great things for the country. I applaud them. I appreciate that. I'm not being facetious when I say that. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I have respect for people who've done military things, and if they've been hurt or they've, whatever. But why would you have them come out here on your behalf when you know that they're not local? Why would the city grant them an audience without knowing ahead of time? Let's arrange something. Oh, we have a speaker from out of town. Let's arrange for them to be able to speak. You know what? That's one thing. But you just bring them in the meeting at the spur of the moment? They don't live here. Of course the city council is going to say, no, you can't talk. Why would they allow that? It's not because they have anything against what they were going to say. They had no idea what the person was going to say ahead of time because they don't live here. They weren't going to talk about local issues because they weren't from here. The city's under no obligation to let them talk. And you're making it a stunt. You're saying, oh, they prevented a veteran who drove 3 hours to be here from speaking. Well, Okay, sure, those are all facts, but again, the person didn't live here. They're not from here. Why would they be given a chance to speak over someone who was from here? And you're mad? You're mad because they weren't allowed to speak? Because your little stunt didn't work? It's not helping your cause. It's not helping whatever it is that you're trying to discuss by doing these things. Because these aren't feasible. You know, and people around here, they don't get that. They think, oh, we're going to make a national thing and we're going to bring it up to our city council. The city council is not involved in national politics. The city council is involved in the running of the city. And if you have an issue with the city, then that's what you deal with on the level of the city. Not the level of the state, not the level of the country, not international issues. What is the city council going to do? Like, it's like a few episodes ago I talked about how when everything was going on with immigration officers in Minnesota, right? And again, I'm not going to comment on the exact things that happened with that because that's its own issue. But as those were going on, various states like Ohio said, oh, well, we condemn the actions of such and such in Minnesota. Okay, what difference does that make? We're not in Minnesota. We're in Ohio. We have Ohio things to deal with. We don't have Minnesota things to deal with. We have Ohio things to deal with. Why are we talking about national things when we're trying to do things in this local area? Right? And going back, tying all of this together, it's because of sensationalism. It's because of appearances. It's because of shock value. It's entertainment. It's attention. Nobody really cares about most of these issues. Most of the time, it's all about being seen caring about the issues, being seen talking about the issues, being seen protesting about the issues. It's not about whether you really care about the issues at all. And that's where we're at, and that's where I'm frustrated. That's why every time I see something in the news come up about the Guthrie abduction, I groan. Because what difference does that make to me? It's nowhere near me. Deal with it quietly. That's why every time I see another news article about Trump's approval rating suddenly is this, and Trump said this, and Trump said that, why should I care? What difference does it make to me? Is it going to keep the credit card companies from suing me? Is it going to keep weirdo people from the West Coast from stalking my content and repeatedly trying to get my attention? Because these are all the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. Like, I have to deal with grocery prices. I have to deal with my car needs repaired and I can't afford to get the parts for it. What difference does it make? Really? And I want you all to ask yourselves that too. I want you maybe to take a moment. If you're heavily involved in the news cycle, if you're heavily into all of these things all the time, I'm going to ask you to just take a minute. Take a few minutes. And disconnect from all of these things that seem important. Distill it all down and see which of these things that you're really concerned about and which you're hyper-fixated on how many of those things directly affect your life today? You wake up today. The first thing you do when you wake up, do any of these issues affect that? Your day-to-day breakfast, lunch, dinner, your coffee, your job, your various things, okay? How many of these issues that you're fixated on, how many of these have any actual direct bearing to your life? Really think about it. And don't think about it in a moral way, like, well, we have an obligation for the... Just think about it practically. Just once, please. Think about it. And of all these things, if you can look at these things and be like, okay, well, this isn't really affecting me, and this isn't really affecting me, cut these out for a few days. Stop paying attention to these for a few days. Just push them aside and focus on the things that really matter, that really are important, that really are affecting everything you do on a daily basis. And see how things change for you. You will notice a change in your outlook and in your attitude. And I don't think it's going to be for the worse. I think it's going to be for the better. Does this mean you should be cold and ignorant of all the various human rights issues that are going on out in the world? No, I think you can still pay attention to all those things, and I think you can still be indignant, and I think you can still be upset and irritated and annoyed and in a righteous fury for things that are inherently wrong. But I also think that you're going to understand that these things do not dominate your day-to-day existence. They don't define you. And the more people that stop believing that these issues define them, the more people are unplugged from the propaganda machine. And the more that happens, the less effective that machine is, and the less power those outlets have. And then you'll start seeing some of these issues start to be fixed. Because they don't have a choice, because they're not entertainment anymore. Now they're a drain on resources. If they don't fix them, they're not getting attention on them anymore. They're not getting people to pour money into them just to solve things that they're not going to solve. Instead, now they're having to be forced to confront these issues themselves. And you will notice things change. You will notice society is changing around you. You don't have to believe me. I mean, you might think I'm just spouting nonsense, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever. I mean, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing what I do. I'm in the best mental shape I've ever been in my life. Because I stopped letting all of these things out in the world invade my personal space here, because they don't affect my personal space. Does an oil crisis in the Middle East affect my personal space? Sure, because it means the gas prices are going to go up, and that's going to be affecting how I travel to the grocery store and back. But what can I do about it? Realistically, what can I do about it? Next to nothing. So what good is it going to do for me to let that worry me every single moment of every single day? Does it bother me that I have to keep paying higher prices for gas and food? Yeah. Do I wish I could do something about it? Sure. If the opportunity came about for me to do something about it, would I take it? 100%. 100%. If I had the means, if I had the opportunity to make meaningful change, yes, I would do it. But in the absence of those factors, then I can't let it bother me. I can't let it consume me. And I would urge everyone out there to do the same thing. Just don't let these things consume you. Don't let these things take you apart. Because that's where we're at. That's why things keep getting worse. Because we keep hyperfixating on things that we can't fix. And that the people who can fix them are refusing to fix them because it looks good for one side or the other to pretend that they can't fix it. Right? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. So that's it. That's the show. This was a hell of a rant. This was a hell of a rant. I'll say that. If you missed it, last week's episode I did play the new single by my music project, Spider in the Hall. I played Anchor at the end of the show. I'm not going to do that this week. You get one and done. Now you have to purchase the EP from Bandcamp or listen to it on streaming services on Spotify, etc. The new album is on the way, June 5th, 2026. It's called Kingmaker. And there will be a listening party on Twitch, twitch.tv/DMGRGN, June 2nd of 2026 at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to play the album in full, start to finish. And that's it. That's all I've got for you. I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to me just go on and on and on about how I felt about everything. Because it weighs on me sometimes. It does. I'm not immune to these things. None of us are perfect people. Because perfect people is an impossibility. If perfect people existed, then eventually we would all be perfect people. But because we are all imperfect people, that's just how the world is going to be. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm hungry. I've been waiting to eat for hours. Ugh, I'm hungry. And have a good night. I appreciate you. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.